Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in AI. Wait a sec, there you go. I thought I'd create a little background. Oh,
Hey,
and
Dan.
I've got it on in the background. And here's my colleague, Danilo. How's everyone doing? How are you doing today, Danilo?
I'm doing good. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's a really exciting week. There's already stuff that we spoke about last week that has evolved and moved forward. So we're going to cover some of that. But for those of you who don't know, my name's Ben Omani, Principal AI Engineer with Thoughtworks. Me and Danilo were having these conversations around what's going on in AI this week, stuff that we were interested in, and we thought we'd have these conversations live and see what you guys think. So we've got some topics lined up. Danilo, do you want to do a small introduction for yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm the Global VP of AI here at Thoughtworks, work with Ben, driving some of our agentic AI offering and client engagements. But yeah, just trying to keep up with all the news in AI is almost a full-time job. So we'll do that and share, and then maybe you guys can send some comments and get us up to speed on things as well, because it's a very fast-moving space.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good point as well. Hopefully you guys are watching on YouTube and there's lots of comments that come through. We find it really fun and exciting when we see lots of comments in the conversation and we get to sort of, interact with you guys. Hopefully this works. We had some issues last week with LinkedIn. So focusing on the YouTube piece. I think we're also streaming a little bit to LinkedIn through my profile as well, but let's see where we get to. Cool. So first things first, and we've even got a little QR code so that people can join the same thing. I know. I also have. So we've been given access to this in Thoughtworks stuff. So I've now got all sorts of buttons I can press, which I've now completely lost. Here they are. Okay, cool. So little bounce. GPT 5.3 instant. There you go. It's an announcement and a half. Cool. So again, like hot on the tails of GPT 5.3, GPT 5.3 instant, smoother, more useful, faster. Better judgment about refusals and fewer disclaimers. Quite interesting this. And again, the over caveating, which is interesting. We also got something later around Hugging Face that's actually unseen for Danilo. I kind of sprung it on him. So
yes.
we can get his unfiltered view for that. What are your thoughts on GPT 5.3 instant? Have you had a chance to play around with it? I haven't yet, unfortunately.
Not yet. I read the announcement, and I think the over caveating is a thing most models do. So it's good, get more straight to the point, I guess, on answers and things like that. It's a good feature. I've been using a lot of Claude stuff myself lately, and as we'll talk later as well, there's a bit of a backlash against ChatGPT and OpenAI in general due to all the other stuff that's happening in the world. So I haven't played around with this yet. I will, because we kind of have to. But this was, I think, the only model release announcement, I guess, that we had since last week. At least that we picked up as a major thing to talk about. Last week there was a ton, and there's always one. But it wasn't zero, but not as many this week.
Yeah, it's quite crazy to say this is just a quiet week when only OpenAI drop a massive new model, which is not all the time. But again, these instants, pretty useful in terms of this. I'm quite excited about the stronger writing piece. Again, I'm using AI to evaluate some of the writing I'm doing. So it'd be interesting to see if my evals give me different views. Again, looks like the emojis are coming in strong. So
I mean, we talked a bit last week, I guess, like the distillation, like having faster models that can give you pretty good performance, but fraction of cost and much, much faster. I don't remember actually if we talked last week, but like Nano Banana had a new release for the fast model as well, right? That came out. I don't know if we talked about last week or not, but
No, I
the
think
smaller version, not the Nano Banana Pro. There was another one, I guess. So it wasn't just one. We forgot to put in the show notes, but I'm just thinking out loud. That came out very recently. Yep.
yeah. So that came out like just as we went live, I think.
The day that we went live. That's right.
So yeah, we sort of missed out on it. I found these models to be great for diagramming as well, not just in terms of like. I think that's an interesting thing. Like under the hood, sometimes it does actually also do the sort of UML mermaid type diagrams quite well and make them like a little bit more visually appealing. So yeah, but yeah, the flash speed again. Looking at these with when you're looking at like speed and cost, like it's great. It's kind of great to see, right? You know, Frontier, like the Frontier move, and then very quickly afterwards, you know, price and
Cheaper.
speed, yeah, come shortly afterwards. So
yeah, for sure. And like this one, just to clarify for the folks listening, it's not like the new major version of Nano Banana. So they have Pro, which is the larger version, and this is the Flash equivalent. So it's almost like, yeah, you get the Nano Banana Pro like quality, but now cheaper and faster for image generation, which I'm sure that like Gemini got a lot of users out of Nano Banana releases over time, and like now it's getting cheaper and just as good quality. So that's a good one. Sorry, it wasn't in the show notes, but I just remember because there must be more models being released, right?
Okay, cool. So we've got I suppose one of the downsides maybe of YouTube is I don't know who this is. But I love their background distributed. It looks like they've got a like a PC3 like dimensionality reduction diagram of vectors on their background, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, how's your experience with Min-Max 2.5 coder, Opus 4.6 performance at a fraction of the cost? I've not used Minimax 2.5 much. So yeah, like I think we talked about it, the release last year, like 2-3 weeks ago. But yeah, I've not used it too much. Again, like we've got access to Anthropic, still beating it ever so slightly on Bench Pro. I guess it's one of those ones where again, if oh, okay, and we've got another one from Wes. So yeah, not seeing the YouTube channel, connecting via LinkedIn. Keep up the URL for YouTube when you get a minute. Yeah, let me find that now.
I can comment on this. Yeah, I haven't used it myself as well. Well, there was another announcement yesterday on like new MacBook Pro M5 and like faster hardware. I'm still running an old Mac, like I have an M1, so I haven't been doing a lot of like local model stuff on my work laptop. But we do have like some folks internally at Thoughtworks that are exploring some of this stuff, especially the teams that are working on the AI works. Because now we're looking more seriously, you know, using AI to write software and like build stuff at scale. Then I don't have the results of those experiments, but I'm aware that there's folks here that are evaluating, and like this is evolving very quickly, right? Like the Minimax was one. We talked about the Quen coder as well that came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago as well. So there's a few of these that are bringing some of this more frontier level performance to cheaper costs.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Right. So
any more models that we forgot, I guess, before we...
Yeah, it's a good question. If anyone's in the comments with models, then yeah, like let me know. Okay, cool. Wes, there's a QR code for me on my YouTube channel. So yeah, feel free to scan that, and then hopefully, yeah, you'll see us where we are. Again, we're still going via LinkedIn as well, just because we've obviously, myself and Danilo still got lots of people there. So yeah, hopefully we've got people coming in from both, and it's nice to see we've got comments from both. So yeah, great. Yeah. So okay, cool. So we talked about OpenAI. So there has been some interesting stuff going on. Now, we talked about this, or you highlighted this to me, that actually this is a VP of research who's moving from, VP of research, head of post training. So again, like a lot of RL, as moving to Anthropic, which is super interesting. Now, the timing of this is sort of like the message here is very positive, as it should be. It's got 3 million views, which is kind of wild, right? On and I think a lot of people are sort of talking about maybe the timing of this, March 3rd, like a couple of days ago, is sort of like maybe coordinated with what's going on with the DOJ, but maybe not. I don't know. Are we reading too much into it? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we are reading because they didn't mention anything explicitly. But that was the big news, I guess, from last week, right? Like Friday was the deadline. It's DOW, right? Department of War. They rebranded now.
Oh yeah, sorry.
They were negotiating with Anthropic on the terms, and like they had some specific red lines that they weren't willing to budge, basically. And then on Friday, both President Donald Trump and then the Secretary of War, they both made statements on Twitter, apparently. They were, first of all, I think President said they were mandating government agencies to stop using Anthropic. And then the Secretary of War said that they were going to designate Anthropic as a supply chain risk, which is like unprecedented in terms of doing that for American companies. They use that for some of the kind of other big states, like from China, from Russia, some of the big companies that they deem as a threat. But the big 2 points of the red line, I guess, was they didn't want models to be used in 2 specific use cases. One is autonomous weapons, so using the models to autonomously decide when to use weapons. And then the other was mass surveillance of American citizens. Domestic surveillance. And then apparently I watched the interview from Dario, like right after this was going on. They made the statement, so we share the links, I guess, to the actual how they addressed the comments. But like he was saying, there were changes, I guess, in the agreements and stuff, but there's always clauses like unless the Department of War deems appropriate, blah blah blah. So like there were caveats that would allow, like loopholes basically to circumvent, and like they're trying to hold a pretty hard line on that. That came out on Friday, and then talking about timing or not, but like the same evening, OpenAI announced that they managed to make a deal with the Department of War to use OpenAI models. And if you read Sam Altman's tweet as well, like he was claiming that they agreed with Anthropic on like the red lines that they didn't want the usage for those 2 use cases. But like the impression and like all the stuff that it created as ripple effects in everywhere, there's a huge backlash, I guess, against OpenAI. At least for the people that agreed with the stance that Anthropic was trying to put as a red line in the agreement. So there's been a lot of other stuff. We can talk about some of the other news that has been popping in since last week, but like that was the source, I guess, the big news. And then the interview with Dario, I guess, is worth watching for people that want to hear from. Like, for instance, he claimed they didn't receive any legal paperwork actually. So like they claim they're gonna put them as supply chain risk, but like it was just the tweets that came out. So he's like, we're waiting for the official communication. Like if that comes, then obviously we're gonna seek litigation and all of those things, right? So he doesn't agree with it, but like, yeah, it's been announced that that's gonna happen, but it hasn't actually happened. I don't know if that has changed since the interview from last week, but things like that. There's a lot of debate, I guess, for how these messages are getting communicated and how it's reaching out the media and the population at large.
Yeah. So and again, very clear on one of the red lines that this should not be used for domestic surveillance. Less clear on the second red line. So yeah, like very clear this is not going to be used for internal security, but nothing about autonomous weapons, right? So yeah, like interesting. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and regardless, I guess what was stated by Sam Altman and the statement as well. The impression that came out was like, oh, it's very opportunistic. They happen right after the other thing has been announced. They make a deal, and a lot of people like, oh, obviously they accepted the terms that Anthropic wasn't willing to accept, which he claimed they didn't. But then, yeah, there's all this nuance in the, like, we're not reading the actual agreement, right? Like, we don't know what's written and like the details, so it's very hard to comment.
They are claiming this is their
they posted
our contract. So this is like all lawful purposes consistent with applicable law, blah, 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 blah. AI independently direct autonomous weapons in any case where law regulation requires human control, nor to be used in any other high-stakes decision that require approval by human decision-maker under the same authorities. Any use of AI in autonomous and semi-autonomous systems must undergo rigorous verification, validation, and testing to ensure they perform as intended in realistic environments before deployment. Eval-driven development turns out even useful in autonomous weapons. And then intelligence activities. Any handling of private information will comply with the Fourth Amendment, National Security Act 47, and Foreign Intelligence and Surveillance Act 78. Any DoD requiring a defined foreign intelligence, the AI system shall not be used for unconstrained monitoring. So yeah, that's key. Unconstrained monitoring of U.S. persons' private information, as consistent with these authorities. The system shall also not be used for domestic law enforcement activities, except as permitted by the Posse Comitus Act. I mean, I'm no lawyer. I know a lot of bird law, but yeah, no, like, not a lawyer. Don't play one on the internet, but yeah, it's cool that we can see what the actual red lines are. Yeah, like interesting, and again, like cleared forward deployed OpenAI engineers to help the government with cleared safety and alignment researchers in the loop, not necessarily deployed, but in the loop. So yeah, that's quite interesting. I like, for me, it's sort of fascinating, this stuff. It's like, yeah, slightly terrifying that this is maybe Skynet, but it's also like, yeah, Dean, he's made it over onto YouTube. Long-time listener, we love him. Complex situation. AI is employed for the use cases. If it makes a mistake, who is liable? Again, definitely not a lawyer here, but like, I think, yeah, it sounds like these carve-outs for like high-stakes decisions that require approval by like a human decision maker. Like, this seems like that's the sort of caveat. It seems like it's not supposed to be used in those use cases where a human is required. So I don't know what low stakes decisions are in war. Like,
true.
But it could be used for those, I guess. Maybe it's like the supply chain side and stuff like that, even when you've got that, even when you're talking about intelligence gathering type operations, right? And synthesizing and summarizing intelligence, like there's a level of abstraction that makes it difficult then to sort of start to trust what you're dealing with. Like, again, it's like even those what might be like low stakes, can then flow into higher stakes things. So yeah, like I'd be fascinating. Again, they've not shared like who's responsible. Like, my gut feel is that there will be some terms that they've not shown in their contract that say like the Department of War will be liable, right? And for how they implement these things, do them. I can't imagine that OpenAI would want to take on any of that liability, but they may be forced to. I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
and there were other developments, I guess. Like, so yeah, the VP of Research leaving and announcing this week was another coincidence that you can read into it as much as you want. There's been some news reported about like Sam had an internal all hands with OpenAI employees, and like I don't know if the transcript leaked or something, but like there's been some reports about how I think one of the claims he made was that timing for the announcement he regretted as being, it does look very opportunistic. That as soon as it's announced that Anthropic is out, then OpenAI announces that they closed a very similar deal. But yeah, lots of the backlash, like there's the whole quick GPT movement, I guess, that came out of this because of the impression, and I guess a bunch of people trying out more Claudes. Then yeah, I've seen some of these around.
Yeah, I think this is the best I could find on the internal all hands. But yeah, like, where are your red lines? What are the safeguards? So like, yeah, clearly some backlash about this, right? And again, we know how these deals work. They don't happen overnight, right? And like also, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, and some of the things that we talk about with our clients, right, where we're saying like, you probably shouldn't have a monopoly supplier of these models because they are leapfrogging each other so frequently. But also, it's not even that. It's that some models are just better at some things than other things. And actually, the combination of these intelligences is often better than the sum of the parts, right? So, yeah, for sure, it's like opportunistic in terms of like the timing. But again, that's probably like just to maximize like news and like stuff around it, right? Rather than like they will have been talking for a while, and so yeah, it will have been something going on. I'm sure for a bit of time. So like interesting that this is going on. And again, like I said, this is also like back in talks. This is just breaking now. So yeah, like again, I probably should have had access to the FT, but Anthropic back in talks about the AI deal. So is Bloomberg free or it got a paywall? Yeah, sure, I accept. Why not? Take my data. Right. No, turns out
I still have to pay.
Even with my data, they are
doesn't cover £2 a month.
No, exactly. Oh my god. And yeah, I don't know why my ad blocker is not working. Anyway, but so Anthropic are apparently back in talks. So like interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be more happening on this. Who can resume this? Also, we didn't do a disclaimer, but I guess since we're live, it's worth making disclaimer. Like we're not trying to give any Thoughtworks opinion on this stuff. It's all like our personal takes on a bunch of this news. I don't think we cover anything controversial yet. Like it's more reporting what's happening, but yeah, that's always important, I guess, to reiterate.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not investment advice as well, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, but like for sure, a lot of news about it, and like it's a really interesting ethical debate around what should AI be used for and what shouldn't it be used for. And like I don't know if I've done the full accounting myself internally about where it should be used and where it shouldn't be used. And it, to some degree, actually, maybe it doesn't actually change the AI piece. I think a lot of people kind of like feel like AI dramatically changes the debate, but like I don't know if it does necessarily, because these things are they're going to happen anyway, right? With people with incomplete information. So it's never positive, these things, but I suppose it's one of those necessities of life. So yeah, again, not Thoughtworks opinion, even though we're broadcasting on Thoughtworks YouTube, very much mine and Danilo's opinions. So yeah, please.
Yeah.
So Dean, I think Anthropic and OpenAI are planning IPOs. Wonder how core values and opportunistic deals, which put those values in question but raise value, can be balanced.
Yeah,
it's a great question. I think the problem is that what you normally see with these sorts of things is that the news is local and the metrics are global. So this in 6 months' time might just be one of the stories that is about these two companies, whereas the metrics that they will have gained and lost from those will be the thing that play out. Now, whether that means that because they have red lines with the Department of War, then more people now sign with Anthropic or not, vice versa. Like many other government agencies might go, okay, cool. Well, like it's pretty clear who like the government, the president wants for their stuff, so we follow them. I don't know. Again, it's like for an IPO, I think a lot of people will be mostly looking at the metrics, as opposed to like the moral stance. But yeah, I don't know. Like that'd be my opinion, probably. That unfortunately, this stuff kind of gets. It's very difficult to turn this into numbers. And so, yeah, when you're making it, when people are making investment decisions on IPOs, they tend to just look at the numbers.
I agree. And I mean, the numbers might be moving, right? Because of this thing, like people might be switching off. Like, so if you might see things happening to the numbers as a result of how users react to the news, and they might choose to swap, right? Or not pay one versus the other. But yeah, how much of that is because of this? Not sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of fundraising, this one also dropped.
Oh, that was big.
Huge. 110 billion. A 700.
That is the largest one.
Yeah. And you can see as well, like some big names there: SoftBank, Nvidia, and Amazon. So that's super important because, of course, you've got obviously SoftBank have been there for a while, and they're talking about investing in like pretty much anything that's data center related. Nvidia, obviously, here are the chips, and then Amazon, like here's how the inference is used, actually downstream. So it seems like a really strategic partner. Yep, signed a strategic partnership with Amazon. And next generation compute with Nvidia. So again, really savvy bit of business here, and like kind of huge. Just, I mean, like you don't even know, like that is, like like the funding round is like 100 times a unicorn.
Who can add another zero? Is the
yeah, it's just like
wasn't Anthropic like 50 billion? Now it's like double that. They're just Yeah, it's massive. And it's like a lot of infrastructure built out, like you said. This is not news yet, but like next week is GTC, NVIDIA's main conference. We'll have a presence there. I'll be there and a few other colleagues. I'm sure that's usually where Jensen announces the next kind of big increment of the hardware, the chips. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So yeah. This might be part of the deal already.
So their like next generation of stuff is going along with that, and that's part of that promise. But yeah, again, super cool. Like maybe we should have like a special live on location from
latest breaking news from correspondent. I'll be your correspondent for the week.
We were already talking about this, like as like our colleagues in the like global AI team were suggesting we should do this more like a news show, which it kind of is, right? And then we've obviously got a very talented colleague, and I'll play just a snippet of this.
Yo, did you ever wonder what data governance is all about? Well, listen up. DATA, letters that we live by in a world that's digital. We chose the data life. And the price.
So I don't.
That's so good.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? This was just in our platform, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna get that. I mean, like Tiankai, if you're listening, we definitely need you to give us an intro music video or something. This is fucking insane. Like, so good. Pardon my French. We were thinking, we could do this live on location. That'd be great. Like, get a bit of like some of the news on the ground, like some of the announcements, that sort of thing. Maybe that's something we could do. But again, from comments, there you go. Some happiness based on that music. For sure.
No promises, but we'll definitely talk to Tiankai.
No, exactly. We can't make promises on his behalf.
No.
He's an artist. Inspiration doesn't come on demand, right? It's comes when he comes. He's got his.
Fair enough. But we can do a plug for him. Go follow him on LinkedIn. He's got way more video clips and music.
And YouTube as well, right? He's got a big YouTube.
Yeah. That's it.
So yeah.
I'm not a big YouTube person, so.
Oh, I love it. It's that's where I found one of the
The news.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here
that's
you
him.
go. Here it is. Cool. So yeah,
There you go.
let's share that on. Give him a shout out as well. Right, where is it? Media asset. Let's get a new QR code. Boom. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. There's a new QR code. Boom. So yeah, follow Chankai. Some really fun stuff there. But yeah, like some good data and AI themed music.
Yes.
Cool. So we covered this. Moving on. This was shared with me by Richard, who's helps with a lot of our
One
content.
of our content.
Yeah. So like pretty senior chap, and like doing a lot of really good stuff behind the scenes, and yeah, writing for us. So yeah, really helped us with last week with the summary of the episode, and yeah, getting that on the
published. And he's busy this week with the Doppler team because they're working on the next version of the technology radar. So there's a ton of stuff happening there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, there's so much going. They're like spending the whole week. They're in India, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I can't remember exactly. I can't remember if it's Chennai or Bangalore. But yeah, so they're over there. All of like Martin Fowler, like Rebecca, our CTO, all over there with like a bunch of technologists from different areas of the business, debating the latest and greatest. And I know we've got upcoming content around that as well, so that's on its way soon. But yeah, this seems sort of interesting in terms of like, I don't know, like an interesting take, maybe like not too controversial, right? That like we build technology to
help humans.
Otherwise it doesn't do very much, yeah, like, and that can be second or third order, right? Not direct. But yeah, like, artificial intelligence should serve humanity, not the reverse. Okay, cool. Like kind of uncontroversial in my mind. Some interesting Screen Actors Guild here, a lot of different tech institutes, and a lot of big names here. And yeah, I don't know if this is like, yeah, for me this is quite uncontroversial, though it's a sort of a random diverse collection of people that I don't necessarily think have too much to do with AI, most of them, but like directly, but maybe they're more like indirectly affected and impacted by AI.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, cool. This is from the 2024 presidential vote. 1004. Humans in charge, strong oversights and limit. Again, like pretty uncontroversial in my mind. So this is maybe the difficult one, the no AI monopolies. I think it's pretty clear that you have same sort of thing, right? And like maybe we're getting to like a Coca-Cola duopoly. But I still feel like there's quite a few horses in the race that I'm interested in and excited about. So it's not just OpenAI and Claude, Google as well, of course. And then you've got the open source like labs, which seem to be getting models to be really competitive with the frontier models. So for me, I think that you're kind of seeing that happen. So yeah, I don't know. Like, did you have any?
You got Mistral. We got all the Chinese labs, obviously. We got Cohere in Canada, building models, and like most other countries as well. Like I know, for instance, Brazil. Like there's an effort to build like a model that works better with Portuguese language, right? Because a lot of this is trained on English, and
a lot of sovereign AI projects.
Sovereign AI, like having. Yeah, I kind of subscribe to the idea that we will have many models. I think some of these labs, they want to try to push like have one general purpose model that does everything. But at least for now,
Well,
having
so
various
this,
models
so,
that we could.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm just saying multimodal, I think, is at least today where I lean personally,
Well,
what we need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree completely. And so I was sort of this maybe brings me on to the next piece, which I haven't I don't think we've talked about too much. But this was a video I watched here, so I'll share this. But like, it's from Hugging Face again. Like, I would strongly suggest like subscribing here. Super interesting. And I think this is a really good bit of interesting, nuanced take. And only 5,000 views, so actually could be shared a lot more. Oh, here we go. Just before we jump into that, Dean, I saw your CTO post about the Radar meetup this week. She mentioned disposable software with AI being discussed. It feels like sacrificial architecture may become more accepted. I think there's definitely talk about that, code becoming more cheap. I think that I think she's probably talking a little bit more around, and I don't want to speak for her because, of course, she spoke, but I think a lot of it is like there is a large part of like software that is spiking, exploration, prototyping, learning by doing, and that is like disposable software, right? There's also like a whole range of internal tooling and scripts that are also relatively disposable software. So I don't think this is anything like. I think she has a very. I've spoken to her about this. She has a very like strong, nuanced view about this sort of stuff, and it's not like all one or all other, right? No,
all software, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very difficult to come across that way in a very short piece, and it's not the main point. But yeah, like for sure. Some software has always been disposable. Some software is, like still running in mainframes, and we can't really. It's so difficult that we have an entire service line to try and help our customers, right? So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think that more often than not, sometimes people do feel a bit more that their software is precious and it should be more disposable, but then vice versa, like. You don't want to be doing things with a lot of uncertainty because, I was having a chat with another of our AI engineers, and he's talking about this like aim small, miss small kind of idea of like, yeah, like that's how I think about these things. It's like, if you've got like a production piece of software, you want to be moving that forward directionally in small increments that are safe. If you're prototyping, yeah, you want to go really fast and far towards some goal, and then maybe you could just chuck that entirely away and restart with what you've learned, and that's a good way of looking at it. I don't know what your thoughts are, Danilo.
Yeah, we talked a bit about this last week when we were talking about or maybe it was the week before. I'm losing track of our conversations these days, but the idea of like investing in the future, like missing small, or like spending some of the time that we gained by being more productive to actually invest in the code, especially if it's not going to be disposable, right? Like to reinvest back and trying to avoid, if you just keep churning vibe coding feature after feature, it's a tech debt creation machine as well. So we need to fight that entropy explicitly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. So,
tell me about this one. I haven't seen
Thanks for that comment. Yeah. So this study is super interesting. So, basically, this is for like a proxy for the game of science. So it's this card game Elusis, and basically the idea is, here it is. You have a secret hidden rule about the cards. Each turn, the model proposes a card, receives feedback, refines its hypothesis, and critically decides whether to commit to a guess. So it's not just if it learns the rule. There's also a boldness to it as well. So like when it's metacognition, so not just like, okay, let's go, right? Here's my rule every time. it gets penalized as a penalty for going too early, and then there's a penalty for going too late. And so, yeah, it's kind of like understanding this, what the score is on this benchmark, and then like each models, whether they've got like a recklessness index or caution. So it's quite interesting that they've got these different sort of kind of personalities they talk about. So the video covers this in really good detail. So definitely recommend, if that's your preferred way of listening to things, and follow the QR code and you can watch that after this. But yeah, this was super interesting to me because it's basically like there's a couple of levels to it that are quite interesting. So yeah, so this is the like the rule. I think in this case it's like a black card.
Colors must alternate. Yeah.
Yeah, colors must alternate. Yeah. I should have just read it.
I'm reading. I didn't.
Nice. And so yeah, what they sort of found was so number one, like the LLMs differed wildly on how quickly they decided to guess. It's not surprising that like most of them were overeager and reckless. So if you look at this, this is the sort of measured, which is basically like
they're leaning more towards the right side.
Yeah, there's a strong preference to be more reckless and guess more frequently. Which
interesting that GPT is on the other side, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So this is interesting because it spent a lot of time. This is the number of turns that it had the correct answer.
They didn't make a guess.
Didn't make a guess. So on average, it was like 4.62 turns that it had the correct algorithm and didn't like publish it. So the way they evaluated this is they had a secret set of evaluate rule correctness, and so 40 simulations, and they basically worked out they turned the guess into code and then ran it on the simulations to see if they got the correct answer in every single case. Now, so that was the first finding.
So the eval was deterministic, like the rule is correct or is not correct. Like you can verify.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Yeah, so they turned the AI answer into the code, and then they ran it to see if it passed all of the evals, which were deterministic. And then because you can basically state, so I think so here so each secret rule in our benchmark is implemented as Python. And then like when the model proposes a rule in natural language, another LLM translates it into code, and then simulate 100 random continuations with the current game state and see whether both rules agree on which cards would be accepted or rejected. So yeah, they're going through all of those simulations forward. But you're right, there is another layer of indirection here, in that like the guess is not Python code. There's a layer between that's turning it into Python code, which could be inferring things. So that was the first thing. So most of the models were overeager, where they were more confident. It's not news really, but it's good to see it in the experiment that these were sort of overeager and often guessing with way before with incorrect rules. And then the second result, so this is the sort of overall performance, including like score versus tokens. So you can see sort of up here, we've got great score, but loads of tokens. And yeah, you'd see you kind of want to be on the top left-hand side of this, where you've got a high score, but a low cost, right? And I don't know what the graph would, what the curve would be, but yeah. Or you may just want to be, okay, for some things, I just want the highest, right? Or you may want like this GPT 5.2 Pro High seems to be giving you a really great, like trade-off here. But then, Gemini Flash is half the cost, right? But I don't know. So anyway,
you need to draw the Pareto frontier, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So that's that side of it, and then the other side was actually so this is interesting where they did the no stakes game. So this is how they calculated the difference between the without penalties. So if there were no penalties, what score did they get, right? And that was interesting as well. So you actually had like GPT-5 Pro High without the penalties scored really highly because it sat on a correct score for a long time. And so this was basically just a change from the stakes game where instead of asking the question, do you want to guess? It would just ask for a guess every time and then turn that and then evaluate when it got to that point.
Right.
So they were getting scores earlier. But yeah, so so average failed guesses and average early correct turns. So this is that sort of that top thing in a different angle, because you've basically got this sort of haiku here, like really guessing loads eagerly very early. GPT 5.2 Pro, very, very slow on average with 4.62 turns, holding the correct answer before it responds. So, like that, and it's kind of like the interesting thing for me with this was there are times when I would much prefer that, so they had a scoring mechanism of like -2 points for an incorrect, what you call it, for an incorrect guess, and like 1 point for each, like, if you got it within a certain number of turns, right? So that's the meta pricing of when it's good to be bold or when it's good to be conservative, and you can see how this actually would play out in a use case. So if I'm doing summarization, right, and I want summaries quickly and like with and I think some error is fine because I'm going quickly and it's not a problem and it's a small summary, and if I want to know more I can dig deeper, then I'm totally fine with stuff being bold and returning early when it's like, yeah, I think I've got enough, here we go. If I'm making any sort of high stakes decision, as we talked about earlier, I actually kind of want that, like slower, like I kind of want, the hypothesis to have been tested frequently, and to have, okay, cool, like it's confirmed, and then like 4 more times, 5 more times to see that the algorithm matches those next 5. Okay, good, great. Like we've now got.
Now we'll make a guess. Yeah.
Now we'll make a guess. So quite interesting from that point of view. And yeah, so then the other side of it was actually that the majority of guesses were way more complicated than
the
actual rule. So I'm wondering if they've got this here. Okay, performance by
complex. Yeah.
Yeah, so like and again, like paired ranks distinct. I mean, this is interesting. I've not dug into this level of detail. I just watched the video, but yeah, like have a look at this paper. Super interesting and like very interesting to see if we could replicate this potentially. But yeah, share color or parity, for example, and you've got these like passing rates. So alternate colors is easy, but then here's the thing: they'll have like alternate colors and extra rules that don't make an impact. And yeah, here you go. Complexity of rules produced. Overly complicated tentative rules violating the principle of parsimony. So they don't follow Occam's razor very well. And that's quite interesting. So it's kind of like this. I think trying to look smart by coming up with overly and I've seen this in code generation, right? Like anyone who's done any amount of AI coding knows that these models don't follow Occam's razor to do the thing the most simple way possible, and they tend to overcomplicate things at the beginning, and you have to work really hard to simplify and take away all the stuff so only the essential things remain, right? So it's interesting that that's the case. Maybe that's something that they'll take note of and start to start to do. But yeah, I thought this was a super interesting paper, and like again, like, really nice. I love video. Not everyone does, but like having this video to like walk me through the paper, I thought was great. So yeah, check out Hugging. I mean, people should know about Hugging Face, of course. It shouldn't be news to most people, but yeah, check it out. Check out their YouTube. Check out the videos, and yeah, like interesting here. We've got GPT OS stand out with these ratios. So yeah, they kind of talked about the cautious, the bold, and the balanced scientist being the sort of and it kind of makes sense, right? It's like sometimes you want if you don't have if there's a big cost to deciding slowly, you want a bold scientist, right? You want someone who's going to make some predictions quickly. Or if there's like no cost to making a prediction, then you want a bold scientist. And actually, a lot of the time, there's not a cost to doing it. But again, it's like you have those iterations afterwards where you're like, okay, cool, like it would carry on. It would be an interesting extension to see, like, okay, cool, you went bold, but you corrected later. To interesting there. And then like the cautious scientist being ChatGPT 5.2 Pro and high, being like just holding the answer for so long, but that kind of could work, right? If you just like so these models were very confident, and they actually like self-regulated with the metacognition, because they would so GPT 5.2, it gave, I think up here we can see they've got like a confidence score they come back with. Here, so there's a confidence levels and their guess rate. And so you can see, for example, I presume, Gemini Flash will guess more frequently with lower confidence. That's why it kind of had that balanced piece. And then where's GPT? So GPT here. So
he waits for the confidence to be really high to guess.
Yeah. So at 8, it's one of the lowest guesses. And then at 9, it's one of the highest.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we know that asking LLMs for numbers is a bad way of doing it. Like maybe a better way of doing this, I was thinking, would be ask it to come up with as many hypotheses as possible, and then use that to have some sort of statistics of like, okay, cool, here's my like memory of all of the guesses I could have had, all of the hypotheses I've had in the past. Okay, cool, this passes for 30% of them. Okay, now I've still got 10 to choose from, or 30 to choose from, to make the maths easy. So now actually my confidence in that is not going to be a 9 out of 10, because I have 30 algorithms that already would adapt to this. So I think that sort of it would be a really interesting follow on from this. But yeah, I thought that was cool. And
very cool. Yeah. Do you know, did they play this against each other, these models, or it was against like a machine basically?
So it's a one-on-one. It's a like zero. It's like a one-on-one game, I think. Unfortunately,
yeah, but they tested against like a robot basically, because you need one player makes the rule and then the other has to guess. I guess the model is guessing.
Oh, so no, so they were doing it individually. I think that would be also really interesting to make it
how they compete against each other.
Exactly, yeah, because then boldness would be rewarded more, right? Or you could change it so that you only have one guess, right? And then like once you have your guess, you're out, and you also get information from the other guesses that are wrong.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, I played a version of this game. It wasn't with cards, but like with objects with shapes and colors and things like that. And then like one player makes the
pyramids.
The hidden rule, and then other people can guess. And if they guess wrong, you give another counter example that breaks their wrong thing. And now you've got 2 examples that you can try to guess on. and then whoever
Yeah.
guesses the right one first wins. It's a very cool game. I guess it's different than this one, but like that would be another cool experiment. Like this idea of try to infer the rule, but then also maybe I want to see another counter example before I guess, so I actually validate. And I remember on that game, it's been a while, but like this idea of like simpler rules are harder to guess than like if I'm the game master and I come up with a super complex rule, then like there's very few examples that will match. Like it's easier to guess a complex rule than like a simpler rule. People will come up with more complex guesses as well. Then
Yeah. So I think there's
That's cool.
also okay, so actually, sorry, I missaid this at the beginning. So the AI model can choose which card to play. So exactly like you would choose to play the
what's the next one?
what's the next one. So you can also, the AI also chooses, like based on their like kind of idea, tentative rule, like
Yeah.
what their sort of thing is. So I like, yeah, it's quite similar to that, and I think it'd be fascinating to do that with the I can't remember what the name of the game is now.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It's a cool game.
But yeah, no, I like, this is fascinating for me because I actually think that there's also like in a lot of use cases when you've got reasoning, like a much better model for reasoning is like science, i.e. hypothesis and experimentation, you know, is going to give you a better response, whether that's in product development, coding, whatever. Like, here's my hypothesis for how this should work. Like, let's see if it plays out, you know, and you've got that kind of like, let's give it a try, see if it works. And, you know, can I create a way of evaluating that and a rule, and then see the invalidation? Okay, cool. Iterate on the hypothesis. So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. And again, we've got lots of clients who use like very, very science focused. So it'd be interesting to sort of, yeah, to pass this on to them and see what they think.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing.
Nice.
I'll definitely look it up. That was it for this week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots to talk about. Some interesting stuff. Yeah, thanks for everyone for commenting. Really appreciate it. Yeah, T Distributed Kid 3825, Wes, Dean. Yeah, keep it going, and yeah, hope everyone has a cracking week. Thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, goodbye.
Let's see what the next week brings.
Yes, indeed. See you all next week.
See you. Bye.
Bye for now.